Welcome to another episode of the Sacred and Profane podcast. It's your hostess with the mostest, Neftara Grace. Hey y'all, Aries gang, it's still Aries season out here. What? Okay, so uh, this particular episode is actually, I'm gonna try to keep it G, but at this point, you know me, it's not gonna be for long. So this is that part of the conversation where I remind you have to be 18 years old or older to have this conversation, regardless of what we're talking about. That's just how I get to be responsible, and you too. All right, so if you're gonna be 18, skedaddle. The rest of you stick around. It's gonna be a wonderful ride. We're gonna dig into why some things happen seemingly out of your control, and then what you can do about it, okay? The runes are Wunjo for joy, Mannaz for manifestation, Peorth for luck, gambling even, and Isa for stillness, ice, cosmic coherence. So, something that has been a long time in coming is here, okay? All right, so I'm going to listen. I think I've talked about this before. I have this entire topic list of things to talk about on this podcast, and usually what happens is Spirit will say, yeah, we're going to talk about that thing, or we're not going to talk about this thing. So recently we've been talking a lot about manifesting, guarding your thoughts, cultivating immunity in every area of your life. The reason we talked about it then is because of what's happening now. Okay, so I'm going to drop you in, and we're going to back up, and then we're going to swirl around and dance a little bit. Y'all can dance, can't you? I hope so. All right. So we are at a time in cosmic place where the planet of Neptune, which is the planet of dreams, fantasy, anything that has to do with spirit or religion, Neptune is it's water based. Neptune, Poseidon, Ariel's dad, if that's where you want to take it. If you want to take it to Disney Princess, it's Ariel's dad. If you know a little bit more, it's Neptune. Um, Neptune is an oldie. Okay, so when we talk about gods and deities, Neptune is chthonic. Okay, not even Olympic chthonic. This is an old Titan energy, and Neptune is literally what you can imagine. What can you imagine? Okay. So if you know anything about astrology, if you have an astrology chart that's already drawn up, or you have an astrologer, definitely take a look at your Neptune, where Neptune is your birth chart, and take a look at how Neptune entering into Aries how is that going to move and shake for you? Okay. So the cool thing about Neptune moving into Aries, so by the way, Neptune it's been like 150 years since Neptune was in Aries. Okay. And Neptune's going to hang out here until like 2038, 2039. So we're in it for a minute. Neptune is an outer planet, like Pluto, okay? Like Saturn, like Uranus. They take longer to orbit the sun. So this energy of what can you imagine is now sitting in a house that's flavored with Aries, which is like get it done, bold, confident, daring, and creative. It's like Neptune in Aries is literally rocket fuel for anything that you are creating that's in alignment with the universe. There is that disclaimer. So here's why. Neptune is not going to this placement and transit isn't going to manifest anything. Right? It's only going to manifest what's in alignment. Why? Because it's being tempered with Saturnian energy. See, Saturn's in Pisces right now. Neptune and Pisces are like husband and wife. I'm keeping it super simple in case you don't know astrology. Okay, so Neptune is the ruler of Pisces, and Pisces is next to Aries. So Neptune and Saturn are actually hanging out near each other, kind of in each other's territories even. There's a lot of cross planetary energy flowing. So it's like Saturn is in Pisces, channeling to Neptune. Hey, uh, the only dreams we're going to fulfill right now are the ones that have been tested and refined by my Saturnian energy. In other words, when Saturn rolled his ass through at the end of last year and upset all y'all's apple carts and all that shit, okay? Whatever got put in alignment, that is what Saturn is nodding to Neptune. Okay, go ahead and fulfill on this. Saturn is also known as Kronos, another Titan, another chthonic energy. When we take these planets, we have them be the sentient deities they are. Planets are deities, they are celestial deities. If you want to talk more about that, let me know. We'll dig in. But for now, just know there's two massive deities up in the sky, literally dictating what's about to pop off and what isn't going to pop off. I can't stress this enough. That's why so many times in the spiritual community, and even like if you're someone who really listens to your spirit guides, you might say, oh, I need to do X, Y, Z. I need to fill in the blank. And your guides will say, no, you don't need to do that. You need to rest or you need to eat this, right? That it's like if you know what I'm talking about, your guides will usually counteract your need to do something with your hands with something that's going to cultivate your sense of groundedness, okay? Especially recently. There's been like this 911, get grounded, get grounded, get grounded. And it was just blaring through the spiritual airwaves, get grounded, get grounded. And here, Sacred and Profane, we were talking about how to know the difference between whether or not something is real is crucial because Neptune, the shadow side of Neptune is fantasy that is deceitful, right? So if you can imagine a fun house of mirrors, you've got some mirrors that are showing you as skinny, some mirrors that are showing you as fat, some mirrors that are showing you as beautiful, some mirrors that are showing you as ugly. Neptune is just the mirrors. No judgment on the mirrors. It's Saturn that's bringing the judgment. Do you understand? It's Saturn in Pisces next door that's saying, okay, actually only focus on this, and this mirror for these people. Okay. Now, for those of you who feel like you do magic, you know someone who does magic, you got somebody in their pocket, whatever the hell you think, you know. Okay. Even if you say, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, Neftara, I don't know what the hell's going on. Here's what you got to get. You, whatever magic you do, whatever you think you know, to have the authority to sway a celestial to do your bidding, I don't think you have that. This is for somebody. I don't think you have that. So if you have spent, you know, literally from like, because I think we had Saturn go retrograde for a hot minute. So since December, especially December, January, first part of February, if you did that work, if you released, if you let go, I remember it was a lot of letting go and grounding in nature and forgiveness during that time. So if you did that work, you know, you're really about to see some things open up for you. Now let's talk about Neptune in Aries. This is the ultimate manifestation combination. When we talk about thoughts becoming things, see it and believe it and see it. First, you got to see it. You know, that is Neptune in Aries energy. It's like Neptune says if we can imagine it, Aries says we can accomplish it, and they work so well together. Now, physically, if you're not careful, this energy may have you feeling a little burnt out because it is heavy fire and heavy water energy, two seemingly opposing energies that actually work really well together at this particular time. So, if you are struggling with excess energy in your body, earth is a very balancing element. You want to be careful with how much air you're adding to balance out your fire and water. Earth is going to work really, really well to ground and center you. So earthing, anything that allows you to really be in that root, sacral, solar plexus energy, So sitting on the bare earth, having your feet on the bare earth. Um, Even honestly, even if you can do a sea salt bath, those are really, really, really nice. Those are really nice. Okay. So just a little bit there. Um, Pardon. So the conversation tonight was specifically about astrology. Big puff. So Spirit really wanted me to bring this subject in as as something for you to really begin to pay attention to. I know that astrology has, it's like it's got its fans and it's got its haters. It can be very trendy. For the sake of this conversation, what matters is that you are reminded of how ancient this is. Astrology is ancient. It may be trendy, but it's not new. And it is, believe it or not, astrology is like, um, some of you will understand this. Astrology is one of the few pure sciences we have left. And as such, it is one of the only sciences we share with other galactic races. Every sentient race of our galaxy looks to the stars, not just for direction, travel wise, but also direction internally. There's no star system, there's no ship, there's no race of beings that do not understand astrology. Okay. So it is a science for us here on Earth, but beyond the 3D, it can be a language that is shared amongst different races, okay, of beings. Now, some mainstream people recognize this and they have very negative judgments about it. So you'll hear people saying, "Oh, if you're into astrology, you're attached to demons." Okay. Hey, I've heard some things. I've heard some things. Okay. And, then there are people who tell you, well, astrology is so old and the wise men used a star to find Jesus, so it's definitely something divine. Okay. Here's what I'm going to tell you about astrology. It is like anything else that has been created. There is this pure version of it that is very beneficial and supportive, and there's a shadow version of it that people who are unwilling to do their shadow work will cling to in lieu of being responsible for themselves. Okay. So there absolutely are people who say, "Oh, Mercury is retrograde, so I couldn't do it." Right? Totally those people. They're just not willing to be responsible for their actions, their words, their choices, and astrology is what they're going to use. Got that. And that doesn't negate the fact that this is a millennia proven science. Okay. So about that, years ago, and I shared this before, we're going to dig in it a little bit deeper this time. I'm gonna have to find these notes and see if I can figure out how to share them with you guys. Let me see, where's this podcast? This podcast is on Apple Podcasts. We are now on Spotify as of this week. Woo woo. We're on my website. Let me look for, we're also on the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel, if you can find on YouTube, Neftara Grace 144 on the community tab, I'm gonna start putting the files for this research. I'm like, where can I put this so you can get it? I got it for free, so I want to give you access to it for free. But it is really the scientific journals of a man from the 1800s who, who was in a really interesting conversation with some people. And it just so happens that he was a scientist and he says, well, I'm going to go prove it. And then he did. And the conversation was around astrology. This is the early 1800s. And, a group of men were sitting there saying, pish, posh, falderall, and fiddy dee. The planets are so far away from us, there's absolutely no way that when one planet moves from here to there, it has anything to do with what happens on Earth. That's foolishness, right? Well, and a couple of the men in that conversation said, hold on a moment. We think it's possible, and here's why. When we look at, and this is the example they use the planet of Mars, right? Because at that time, astronomers knew that Mars was red. They could see that in the telescopes they had. And they said, well, surely that amount of red means there's iron oxide, which means there's a prolific amount of iron. So I'll tell you what, and this scientist, I'm going to find his notes and give it and put him up for you guys. Um, he's like, okay, well, look, this is low hanging fruit. Let's see the next time Mars transits. Let's get in a lab with some metal. Let's take some iron and let's see if something changes. Let's see if we can see an impact in the congruent metal here, when its relating planetary body moves in space. Okay. So they set up the lab, they set up all the metals that correspond to the planets, yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. Guess what? They proved, they did it, they proved it. When planets move in space, it impacts the Earth because of the metal content. That is specifically what they proved. The connection between the planets moving, our bodies, the Earth is the metal content. Okay. So just like if you go back to your elementary science, okay, you know that it's all that you remember your periodic table of elements, okay? And there's metals and there's aluminum and cadmium and all you got iron and nickel. Oh my gosh, we all know about gold and silver, but you don't know all your metals, okay? So scientifically proven on the books that when planets move in space, any object that contains the corresponding metal, like if the core of that planet is copper, then baby, everything that's got copper on Earth is about to shimmy too. This is proven. This is now science. It sounds amazing and fantastical, doesn't it? But it's proven. So now we know, and we've known since the 1800s, for God's sakes, that when Neptune does a loop-de-loop, so do we. When Saturn does a hop, skip, and a jump, so does our lives. Okay? When Venus does a shimmy, so do our bank accounts. We've learned. It's proven. We're not even gonna go there. Okay? What we want you to begin to consider in this conversation is all the ways you can up your game with this knowledge. Because make no mistake, you've entered into a new era. I've been saying this, a new epoch of time. You need every edge you can get. It's not business as usual, and things will never go back to the way they were. The path ahead of you is unknown. You need every edge you can get. You need every tool you can access. You cannot rely on what you've always done to take you where you've never been. It won't work. It won't work. That's not personal, it's principle. Okay. So the first 10 minutes where I broke it down for you, hey, Neptune is in Aries, Saturn's in Pisces. I'm telling you, that motherfucker in Saturn done took your name down. He was taking names back in December. And if your name ain't on the list, Miss Thang, there is no guest list tonight. Y'all don't, y'all too young. Y'all don't know what I'm talking about. I was born in 1980. You don't know nothing about that. Anyway, so what can you do? All that you can do is get in alignment and stay in alignment. I don't know if you remember months ago, I said it's about getting ready and staying ready. It's get ready, stay ready so you can be ready. Be ready. But this is what we need it to be ready for. Now, it's super slick coming in because Neptune is like that. But I'm telling you, the day, because it's the Neptune transit a couple days ago, I woke up and I was like, ooh, Neptune everywhere. My chart is ruled by Neptune. Okay. With Pisces midheaven. Saturn is at the bottom of my chart in Virgo. All right. I am balanced as fuck. And I am committed to that balance. One of my litmus tests for whether something has integrity for me or not is whether or not it contributes to my sense of balance or throws me off. I swim in the waters of Neptune. So when I woke up a few mornings ago and I said, oh, Neptune, I said, okay, because I'm an Aries. I mean, and it was like a wave of warm, salty, delicious ocean water crashed over me. Not hard, it was easy, but it was still an ocean wave. It was Neptune. And I just kind of slid in. And that's how this transit is coming in. It's real smooth, it's real warm, it's like bathtub warm. It's salty, it's nurturing. You're not going to think anything of it until it's too late. Consider this the only warning you're going to get. This transit is here to fulfill dreams. With Saturn in Pisces, this is actually divinely orchestrated. So in the last season, we had a lot of authority figures be unseated. They lost their crowns, they lost their authority in the higher realms. And so, although it takes a little bit of time to see that happen in the 3D, we're going to see it. Over the next 2025 to 2027, you're going to see a lot of people stepping down, a lot of people retiring, air quotes here, okay, because they've lost their authority in the higher realms, okay. This Neptune and Aries, Saturn and Pisces, interesting kind of tango we have going on is literally establishing the new, I've been saying this in my YouTube readings, it's establishing the new founding family. So you guys remember we have like, y'all know, the third, yeah, ugh, I hate to even talk about it, but y'all, it's not a conspiracy, but you guys know we talk about the families who've been around for so long and their money, their power, their wealth allows them to live a certain way. That's how we're going to put it at this time. Okay. So yeah, so much of this. Listen, if y'all are not watching my readings on YouTube, what are you doing? Check it, like really, because it fits together. Okay, so this last season, there's this epic spiritual battle. Oh my gosh, look, if you know, you know, epic spiritual warfare. The light, and I don't mean goodness, I mean the light won. Okay, but please remember, there's always a balance. So it was time for the light to win, okay? Because we had already been in seasons of darkness. Do you understand that? Okay. So we had already been under the rule of evil for millennia. Everybody clear? Okay. So then this epic spiritual war ensued because it was foretold that a battle would come about. Well, the battle came about and the light was victorious as was foretold. Okay. Now, now this shift in power has to occur. A transfer of wealth has to occur. Just like any battle, any war, when the side that wins, okay, well they get plundered, right? Yeah. So that's what's happening. Neptune and Aries and Saturn and Pisces is plundering. They are plundering. They're like, okay, you were faithful to the Most High, even when evil was reigning over all the earth. So your bloodline, your bloodline, your bloodline. Hold on, who ancestors is this? Okay, y'all too. Your bloodline, y'all now in charge. Okay, give me these 13 fools over here. They got to get the fuck up out of here. We done with them. That's basically what's going on right now. Okay, if you're someone, you get up, you make your breakfast, you go to work, you come home, you're not really paying attention to this. You're not. There's a lot of Trojan horses right now. There's a lot of distracting bullshit in mainstream media right now. You're not concerned that the reins of power are being snatched out of the hands of evil and given over to the light. And this transfer of power is going to take nigh on 12 years to complete. It didn't happen overnight, though. Over this past week, I've been doing some spirit-led research, like tracing this reign of evil that just ended, that we were born into. As far as I can tell, like this particular reign started in the year 1025 AD. The Crusades, something got unlocked. Something back during that time, the Byzantine Empire, something got unlocked, something got unleashed, and we've been living in hell ever since. But there was a prophecy, like the Most High, nothing is by mistake. So I'm sure there was a prophecy that some great evil would be unleashed, and then that shit happened. And as soon as that evil was unleashed, there was a redemption plan already in place. Okay, that evil got unleashed. There's gonna be some energy that comes along and balances that out and brings us back into a season of abundance and health and wealth and prosperity where we actually flourish. Yeah. So back not in the same year, not in 1025, but that really was the era of the Council of Nicaea, right? Of rewriting this historical sacred text we know as the Bible and excluding the divine feminine from the Bible. It's all in the same time area. It's like time zone, space time continuum zone. Y'all know what I'm saying. It's not a coincidence. Now, what's really cool, Neptune is watery energy. So even though we know Neptune as Poseidon as this very powerful, very strong water deity, Neptune is still water. This is still an emotional, more of a feminine energy in a masculine sign. Aries, likewise, we have Saturn, more masculine energy in a more like fluid, flowy, feminine sign of Pisces. Please understand whatever has been imbalanced when it comes to genders is about to be rectified. Okay. So for those of you who have Sagittarius highly aspected, this is going to be a very transformative time for you. The energies combined are going to fuel your quest for truth and knowledge. Once again, just be sure, and I can't stress this enough. This might be the whole juice right here. Please make sure that you are guarding your hearts and your minds. I didn't say block. I'm not saying hide. I'm saying guard. It's been a while, but we talked about having mental shields, understanding who is influencing your thoughts. I don't know what world y'all live in, but I'm a psychic witch. And when other people have an issue with me and they want to attack me, they always come from my mind. So I've had to get really good at understanding what are my thoughts versus what is the person next to me, knowing what I truly want. And let me tell you, this takes discipline because for the most part, people are so fucking inauthentic and fake that they lie to they lie to themselves. They're not even honest with themselves about what they want. Mostly because they think they can't have what they want, but that's a conversation for a different day. So instead of just saying, hey, I want that, but I don't think I can have it. I don't think I'm good enough to have it. I don't think I have what it takes. No, I don't really want that. No, no. I would never. Oh my God, what are you talking about? I would never do that. No. No. Listen, look at Linda. Being able to know what's real and what's not is what matters. There are people out here influencing you and they don't know they're influencing you. So I'm gonna share something and try to change the names, protect the innocent, whatever the hell. So I know somebody who is I know somebody who's very adamant that they're not really into God. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. They're not really into spirituality. They're not really into it. It's not really their thing. Um, However, I know this person. They come from an ancestral bloodline of people who do magic. Okay. Now, this person, not not someone who does magic. Okay, not, just not at all. Okay. Now, however, because of this person's ancestral heritage, because this person inherited spiritual gifts regardless of what they believe in, this person can still perform basic and very effective magic. Now, they don't call it magic. They don't know it is magic. Do you understand what I'm saying? But that's still what it is. Now, for me, I was born with magic to parents who had magic, but one of them decided to never, ever, 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 ever talk to me about it, teach me about it, or support me with it. I had a rough life. The fancy way of saying shit sucked. But one day I got old enough and figured out, oh, I have fucking magic. That's what it is. But the context matters. See, I had been raised to think that everything that I was wasn't real. So as I came of age and came into myself and learned myself, I was fucked mentally. Because who I was for myself is I couldn't exist. I couldn't be real. And it took me years to untangle that and really get, hey, I'm real. It's just people said magic wasn't real. People said this wasn't real. But people say whatever they fucking feel like. And sometimes it's true. Most of the time it's not. So after I determined for myself what was real, then it was a piece of cake for me to locate myself, my authentic self in that reality. So I have to beseech you again, broken record. How do you know what's real in your life? Number one, make sure the thoughts you have are your own. The choices you're making are the ones you want to make. Neptune is water energy. Water flows and seeps. It seeks out nooks and crannies and crevices. And so you may be someone who thinks that you've got everything down pat, you've got it shut down tight, and nothing's going to get through. Neptune will get through, especially in your dreams. This is a very auspicious time to dream. If you're looking for answers, dream, mugwort. I'm going to light some mugwort up for you guys. Send it through. So whenever you listen to this, should you choose, always choice, I love free will, you can take the energy of this episode with you into dream state for clarity and confirmation. And of course, a huge dose of protection. I don't do anything without protection. So, knowing whether something is real or not can save your life. Imagine that you're in a situation and it's like, oh my gosh, this is not it's not a safe situation, right? It's just not safe. And then you see a tool there, but it's not real. It's not a real hammer. So you can't really use it to break the glass and get out. It's a fake hammer. That would be horrible. That'd be horrible. That'd be horrible. So you're fighting for your life and the only object you have isn't even real. Hell no. Well, I want you to consider this. Like, you know, you have an opportunity to take account right now and look inside your life. What is real and what's not? My friend, if there's something in your life that isn't real, I'm begging you, let it go. I am begging you, don't hold on to anything that isn't real. It's not worth it. It's not worth it because Neptune is gonna twist that shit. I'm telling you. It's like a bad scene, okay? Astrology. You don't have to become an astrologer. You don't have to hire an astrologer. What you do want to do is begin to allow that you're being influenced by energies greater than yours. And there's an opportunity for you to learn how to work with this energy. For starters, I highly recommend, for real, no kidding, just going to like astro.com and taking a look at where the planets are today, on any given day. Like really acquainting yourself with the idea that the planets are constantly moving like you are. Some move fast and some move slow. Okay. Finding your birth planets, finding a rhythm, and if you have not already done this with the moon and you're a woman, I suggest you align yourself with lunar energy first before you seek any other celestial support. Okay. Particularly for women, the moon will support your connecting with these other celestials. And if you like for instance, I'm in Aries with double Mars influence in my chart, it's fairly easy for me to connect with Mars energy. So if you're someone like that, like you've got something happening in your chart that allows you to connect with a particular energy, do that. Do that. This really, let me tell you all the ways this helps me. Okay, being aware of astrology helps me to care for myself preemptively. So like when I know Mars is going to make a retrograde transit, I get really nice with myself because I was born with 6 planets retrograde. Okay. Yeah, I'm one of those people anyway. So when Mars goes retrograde now as an adult, I know I'm about to do nothing. Nothing. Mars retrograde in my life is like somebody said, sit down, bitch. And I was like, okay, right? So so when I know Mars retrograde is coming, I don't push myself. I don't plan any launches. I'm not gonna release a course. You guys aren't gonna see me on social media. I'm telling you, y'all don't see me on social media during a Mars retrograde. It ain't happening. Okay. Working with astrology has allowed me to find my natural rhythm, and so it allows everything that I create and that flows from me to come from a more centered, grounded, and authentic space. Okay, so the way it's coming through is like the celestial energies. That's the original algorithm. Y'all know how like Google and Instagram and YouTube, they all have their algorithms and shit. Well, the stars and planets, that's the algorithm. That's the original algorithm, and it supersedes anything that humans can make up. Period. And for those of you who are worried about AI, listen. Side note, because they're up there whispering. I hear planets up there whispering. Even technology is governed by celestial energy. It's Aquarian energy, but that's Uranus energy. Okay, I think we're good. Yeah, I feel like this was an opportunity for you to expand your toolkit and include astrology in a way that works for you. Okay? Don't do what nobody else doing, do what works for you. There's apps, there's classes, there's workshops, there's readings, there's free stuff on the internet. I do astrology readings. If you're like, I want to work with you, come work with me, boo. Let's do it. Get on my website, book yourself a consultation. I do natal charts, I do Saturn returns, I do astrocartography, right? Like mapping the best place for you to live based on your natal chart. I also do your goddess planets and your asteroids. Okay. So my astrology readings can be pretty in depth. They usually take 3 hours. I break it down 1 hour for 3 different days. You really get like not just a bunch of paper, right? Because I do send you a digital copy, but also you get to understand your chart. You get to learn how to read your own chart. If you have any stelliums, right? If you have any grand trines, if you have anything like that, any yods, all of that, we go over all of that, okay? Again, check out my website, www.neftargrace.com, if you want anything related to astrology, anything like that. But in the meantime, again, find what works for you. Astro.com. You get on astro.com, astro.com, and it'll show you the position of the planets on any given day. You don't need to go advanced for now. You just want to know, like locate in space and time. Where the fuck is it? People say Neptune and Aries. What does that even mean? Look it up. As you begin to let go of, if they're saying the ties that bind you to this outdated patriarchy, you've got to remember that there's already algorithms and programs. They're saying ley lines in place from the mother. That's what astrology is. Some of you are so scared to let go of the patriarchy. Like, well, how are we going to keep it together? How are we going to stay in line? How's there going to be order? The stars, the planets. They don't veer off course, baby. They've been doing this for a long ass time. I think if anybody can keep their shit together and help us keep our shit together, it'd be the planets and the stars. Okay, so astrology is not woo woo, it's a tool for you to use. Okay, all right, that's it for this episode of the Sacred and Profane podcast. I had so much fun talking about astrology with you guys. I can't wait to talk more and go in deeper. This is just a top level overview. Check out my website if you want to know more about astrology, especially readings with me. In the meantime, trust your process, your path, and your purpose. Peace.